And looks like Steve just got here.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not on a ferry.
Yeah, not anymore, I guess. Okay.
Hi, Steve.
Oh,
Hello, Stephen.
I,
I was hoping you were going to connect to us while you're still on the ferry.
no, that wasn't gonna happen.
Uh,
It was a little noisy.
That's what earphones are for.
Yeah,
Where'd you go, Steve?
just visiting national park sites down in Connecticut, New York, and New Jersey.
Oh, nice.
Seems like a lot to do in a day.
Oh, we were gone a week.
Okay.
Great trip.
No rain, sunny every day.
Mm,
Nice.
well, at least we got some up here. Well, since we have a quorum and not a ton to do tonight, let's bring this meeting to order. This is the Newburyport Conservation Commission meeting, September 20th, 2022. Meetings taking place on the Zoom platform, and this meeting is being recorded. First item on the agenda, the August 16th, 2022 meeting minutes. Anybody got any changes?
I move that we accept the minutes as written.
Second,
All right, roll call. Let's see, Steve Moore,
Yes,
David Vine,
yes.
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. I don't see, Charlie's not here, and Bill wasn't exactly here for that. All right, next item, Plum Island updates. Julie, we have Plum Island updates.
Yes, we do have some brief Plum Island updates. I finally have some information about the dredge, which is upcoming, as you all know. The Army Corps dredging the Merrimack River is expected to start by mid-October, or if not early October. They've got a contractor on board. They plan to use two hydraulic dredges, one smaller, one larger. Smaller one for the inner harbor, the larger one for the outer harbor near the jetty. And there'll be two, each one will have a pipeline, an 18-inch and 24-inch pipeline, bringing sand to the beach. They're hoping to close the entire beach to public access during construction, because it's just going to be a tremendous amount of equipment, tremendous amount of sand. It could be dangerous. So they're hoping to get the word out that the beach will be closed essentially from the jetty to the point, given where they need to get access to with their equipment and all that. So we're having a meeting on Thursday with DCR and Army Corps, and hopefully the contractor, to just go over some of the construction staging details and things like that. But,
Julie, I don't mean to interrupt, but Charlie is in the attendees.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right, Charlie, I'm moving you over. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay.
Can I ask a question already?
Sure.
Is that strictly navigation purposes, or is there any beach nourishment?
It's both. It's for Army Corps, it's strictly a navigation project, the dredging, but
Okay.
we were able to get them to do a beneficial reuse, authorize a beneficial reuse of the sand on the reservation terrace dunes. So they did a 204, an Army Corps 204 study that essentially like authorized that work to take place. Beneficial.
Great. Okay.
Julia, on that, how many yards does Newburyport end up getting, and is it all in the reservation terrace area?
Yep, it is all in the reservation terrace area, essentially from the spur and just inside the spur of the jetty to around, I think the project area extends to like 70, I want to say 77th Street or approximately, but don't quote me on that. I don't have the project plans in front of me. It's approximately 300,000 cubic yards of sand.
Wow.
290 to 300,000 cubic yards of sand. Yeah, it's a lot. It should add nearly 400 linear feet of dune. So
And is Salisbury getting some in this?
Salisbury is not getting any. No, this is all coming to Newburyport, all coming to Reservation Terrace.
What, isn't this one kind of, the rationale was to fill in the scour created by the spur there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Salisbury and Newbury got the sand. I shouldn't say they got it. They had the offshore placement of sand from the Piscataqua River dredge went offshore of Salisbury and Newbury. Not that that was sort of like the agreement to balance it out in any way, but it just made sense to do it that way. And then we needed the sand. The last time the Merrimack River was dredged, we didn't get any sand. It went to Newbury and Salisbury. So this time, they agreed that we needed it more.
Okay. Anything else on?
There is an MRBA meeting on Friday, September 23rd at 9 a.m. I believe it's going to be at PETA Hall. We had been doing them over Zoom for a few years, but the last meeting was at PETA Hall. So this one, I believe also will be, but I haven't gotten an agenda yet and any of those details. When that comes out, if you don't all receive it by email, I will forward it to you.
Okay.
In case anyone's interested in coming. That's it.
Alrighty. That's it for that. Then, well, I'm not going to scramble too much on the fill time here till 7. So, why don't we move on to certificates, compliance, request for determinations, etc. So, first item is the City of Newburyport, 40 Low Street, Fuller Field, request for certificate of compliance.
Yep. I just moved Chris Huntress, who's the consultant on this project for the city. He's representing this for the city tonight. I just moved him over to a panelist. So, and let me pull up the project plans, which are right here. So Chris, if you don't mind, want to give just a quick summary for everybody of the work that took place and the status of it now as you're requesting this.
I'd be happy to. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh, great. Thanks. And I appreciate you taking me early in this morning early in this meeting as I've got another commitment. So the phase 2 of this project included the construction of the reconstruction of the parking lot. Around, we did move the main entrance and widen it so that now it's wide enough for 2 vehicles to pass. And we provided handicapped accessibility all the way from Low Street into the site, including over to the bathrooms, and then all the way over to the new bleachers on the far side of the field. The 100-foot buffer, I would say much of, but not all of the parking lot area is within the 100-foot buffer, and it runs out to about where the track touches the parking lot, roughly within that area. We did have our drainage design was peer reviewed by Phil Christensen when we went through the process and got the order conditions, and we provided an as-built with any minor notations. I don't believe there was anything much. Oh, I know what we did. We rerouted a drain line on the back near the bleacher to save a couple of existing maple trees that were put in there during the 2016 phase 1 construction, but the intent and the layout are essentially the same, and that work was outside of the 100-foot buffer. Happy to take any questions.
Show these photos that you have provided. Let me just.
Oh, I did talk to Mike Hennessy today, who's your with your Parks Department, and he did let me know that he watered all the plant material throughout throughout planting and stabilization, and he had good things to report even as of today. So
Great. Yeah, it looks fantastic out there. I've been out several times. everything seems to be functioning in terms of the drainage design and the constructed wetland area and all that. So, and the rest of the site is really looking great.
Good, thank you.
Show some more pictures.
Any issues as far as a growing season being completed, a requirement? The 2 year, is it 2 years that
I
we were
think-
looking for, Julia?
Yeah, although let me take a look at the order of conditions. I don't know if we specified anything. Made any specific conditions. Here's the order of conditions. Reconstruction. Nope, we did not require anything back then, and this was 2020. So, I mean, I'll go back to the photographs. The vegetation is well established.
Hmm.
I would say that I'm not concerned about waiting another growing season. The hydrology, the soils are all really good out there. Even through the drought over this summer, it looked like the wetland was, wet and thriving and all that.
Yeah,
Okay.
See, this is one of the sort of drainage swales along the
that's
back.
probably that picture you just had there, that one too. Yeah, that one's probably better. That's where we did reroute. If you see the trees at the back end of that picture, those
Mhm.
do we save by just rerouting the pipe around the back of them as opposed to through them. It was a minor change, but worth pointing out.
Yeah, close up is photo 14 there, which
Yeah.
looks,
That's exactly it. Yep.
very good. Anybody else got any questions or comments?
This is a good aerial of showing the wetland area.
Hmm.
And this is the constructed wetland right here.
I guess the only comment I have is I'd like to see us make, anytime we're planting vegetation, that there's a 2-year requirement on the growth. Maybe it might be standard out on Plum Island, but it doesn't seem to be on other things. So,
Yeah, we didn't get into this one.
yeah.
Okay.
Other than that, it looks good.
I can maybe actually just incorporate that in to the boilerplate special conditions so that it doesn't get left out inadvertently.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I'll make a note about that.
Okay. Other than that, we got anything else? Other than a motion?
Motion to issue the certificate of compliance.
Second,
All right, roll call. Charlie Lovasetti. Oh, give me a thumbs up, Charlie. Your mic's off. Okay. Steve Moore,
Yes.
David Vine,
Yes.
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
yes.
Bill Mullen,
Sure, yes.
and I vote yes. I got everybody, right? Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you all very much.
You.
All right, next item is ITW Shinemark, 5 Malcolm Hoyt Road, requested determination.
Okay. Let me see if there's anyone here for this. Millennium. I believe this is a Millennium project. RDA, okay, just moved Millennium Engineering over to discuss this. Here is an aerial of the site. So let's see, James, is this James who's here tonight for Millennium?
No, this is Sam Colombo speaking from Millennium. Can everyone hear
Oh,
me?
okay.
Yes.
Okay. And if we could scroll down a little bit to the plans
Yep,
if they're there, or I can also share
They're
my
there.
screen if that's easier.
here they are. I've got them. This is the
Okay.
site.
Yeah, so if we could just zoom in, yeah, right about that area. Okay, so the applicant needs to upgrade their electrical service. The current connection they have is inadequate for their daily operations. And in order to do so, we're proposing a new utility pole. If you zoom in a little bit further, you can see that. Yep, right there, just under the transformer and concrete pad label. Yep. So in order to do this, that's where we're proposing the utility pole. There'll be an overhead connection to utility pole, existing utility pole 331 off of Malcolm Hoyt Drive. And then from our proposed utility pole, we'll have an underground connection from the utility pole to the transformer just off the northeast corner, yep, of the building right there. As you can see, there are wetlands right off of Malcolm Hoyt there with their associated 50 and 100-foot buffer. When all is said and done, everything installed, we're looking at about 200 square feet of impact within the 100-foot buffer here. That would include the work around the utility pole, as well as the trench for the underground connection to the transformer. That's pretty much it. I'll open it up to questions if anyone has any.
If you don't mind, I'll just show this aerial as well, because I think it's important to see how much of this project area is already paved. Because I
Sure.
believe that it's just this very small portion right where the utility pole is going that's in the grassy area.
Yep.
And then everything else with the trench goes through existing
Okay.
pavement.
That's correct.
So, like, let's see if I can bring this up. I believe, am I right that the utility pole would kind of go right around in here?
Yeah,
Like at
a
this
little
corner?
closer to the pavement.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, right about the corner, if you move your mouse to the left a little bit.
okay,
Yeah, right in that area.
okay. And then the trench comes over to the building around this. like this
Right,
area?
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Does the transformer pad show up in this aerial? I don't, everything looks green.
I'll be able to zoom in close enough.
Can't get very close. I don't see, it's hard to make out the detail,
Yeah.
but go back to the,
Mhm.
it's right before you get to the corner. So it's right in here.
Yeah, it's right there, right where your cursor is.
Essentially, there'd be a trench here.
Yep.
Okay, can we go back to the plan for a minute? Okay. So the line on the plan, which is just to the bottom of where the new pole is going, is that the 100-foot buffer zone? Or 50?
To the bottom of the pole. Right, just
what-
below the pole.
No, the other line, I guess.
So up closer to the transformer pad.
No, the one down below, right next to where the new, right, that one.
Yep,
Yes.
that's the 50-foot buffer.
Okay,
So we'd be staying out of that completely. It would only be an impact to the 100-foot
okay.
buffer.
And was that permanent or temporary disruption? The 250 square feet you talked about?
It would be temporary. We'd be loaming and seeding around the area around the pole, and then the trench for the underground electric to the transformer pad. There'd be a permanent trench patch there.
Yep.
Is there any other close-ups in this, of what's gonna happen right there at the pole? Any other drawings?
No, this is the only drawing we have tonight.
Oh, okay, all right.
I don't know if you can zoom in any further than that.
Actually, you probably can. Okay. So the pole's just going in the ground. There's not gonna be any concrete pad or anything like that.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Would you normally put a crushed stone skirt around that or just leave it as is?
Around the pole.
Yeah,
I don't know the general procedure that National Grid does, but we're proposing loam and seed there.
okay.
I've seen it done before that way, but ultimately, I guess it would be up to National Grid.
Mhm. Okay. All right, anybody else? I hear a lot of silence.
Make a motion for a negative determination.
Second,
All right, roll call, Charlie Lovisetti.
Right?
Yep, you have a question?
Can we just
Yeah,
specify?
yes, sorry, Joe, I just want to understand something here. I mean, for a negative determination here, we're just saying because it's not disturbing. While it's within jurisdiction, it essentially will have no disturbance, so it's a negative determination.
Exactly,
Essentially,
so, yeah, you're saying it's a negative because the commission is determining that there will not be any adverse impact to wetlands and therefore there would be no requirement.
Yeah, so that's what I thought. I guess I should have jumped in a little bit earlier, but my one question here is just in terms of setting up the pole, like where, I mean, I assume you're putting in it, like, how is the pole getting there? And over what, like, where on the property are you going through to drive in the pole?
Yeah, so if we can just zoom, yeah, this actually works great. So Malcolm Hoyt Drive, oh, I can't use my cursor actually.
Yeah, here's Malcolm Hoyt.
Yeah, and so you'll see the entrance to the site right where the cursor is now. So that's how they'll access into the site, and then the pole is actually just off the edge of pavement, right where the cursor is now.
Yeah, I just want to understand where the pole was usually the paved area.
Sure, yeah.
So you don't need to cross, you don't need any equipment within within the vegetated area.
Correct.
All right, thank you, that's helpful. Yeah, so I'm a yes.
Okay, all right, there's one, Steve Moore.
Can I
Yes.
just interrupt, Joe? Can we
Yes.
specify whether or not this is a -2 or a -3, just for the vote?
Somebody wanna specify that?
A -2 is with no
With no special-
requirements, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, -2.
we consider the vegetation a requirement, or is that already written into the request?
It's already written into there.
Yeah, so it'd be a 2.
Okay, we clear on that? All right. Steve Moore,
Yes,
David Vine,
Yes,
Carol Wagon,
Yes,
Dan Warshaw,
Yes.
Bill Mullen,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right, thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone.
You,
All right, next item. Next item, Chris Skiba, Newburyport Development, 3543 Water Street, request for determination. They have requested a continuance, correct, Julie?
yes, just today they
Okay.
requested a continuance to the next meeting on October 4th.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
Motion to continue to October 4th.
second,
All right, roll call, Charlie Lovisetti,
Yes.
Steve Moore,
yes,
David Ryan,
Yes,
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
Bill Mullen,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right, that's done. All right, need a motion to open the public hearings, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Charlie Lovasetti,
Yes.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
David Ryan,
yes,
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
Bill Mullen,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Just as a information, Bill, since we're going into public hearings, we need to open up the meeting to public hearings and to allow the public to speak. Normally, the public doesn't speak on during a certificate of compliance or request for determination. Just an FYI.
Thanks.
All right, first item is, well, I can't remember. Did the commission continue the Hale Business Park, 21 Malcolm Hoyt to the 18th or to the 4th?
The 18th, they
We did.
requested.
Okay, so we're all
Yeah.
set with that continuance.
Yeah.
Okay. In that
Joe,
case,
Joe, can I interrupt you for one quick second? Sorry.
yes,
I'm getting a lot of like background noise. I don't know if anyone else is hearing that, but it's a little bit hard to hear.
I think it was Charlie's. I just, as you said that, I looked up and saw it go to Charlie's. So,
Charlie's muted right now.
well, yeah, it went away.
Okay, got it, okay.
Someone's doing cartwheels in Charlie's office there. Let's see. So next is Jeff Bailey, 6 Jefferson Court, notice of intent.
Yes, okay, I'm promoting Jeff Bailey and Bill Manuel, his consultant, to panelists. If anyone else is here as an attendee who's representing this applicant and would like to speak, then raise your hand and I'll promote you over to a panelist as well. But I believe I have the correct people. So
Yep, I'm the important person.
all right, great.
My name is Bill Manuel. My company is Wetlands and Land Management, and you're looking at my entire company. So this is a project for really some housekeeping at 6 Jefferson Court. It's a vacant lot except for the existence of a existing deck and then a really dilapidated float system. I could share my screen if you like. I have a colored plan that may be easier for viewing.
Okay, sure. Hold on a sec. Let me stop sharing. And then you can go ahead and start yours.
All right, so Jefferson Court is here. The Merrimack River is over here. And there is an existing wood deck on the site. I've outlined it in magenta. And there are existing wood steps that are connected to the deck, go down over a steep embankment. There's some exposed bedrock on that embankment. And then there's a landing, and then it goes down to a few more steps to the level of the salt marsh. There's a segment of salt marsh here that's sort of interrupted by exposed bedrock. I've characterized the exposed bedrock as rocky intertidal shore amongst the salt marsh. The salt marsh extends right to the toe of, very distinct bottom of slope here. And I've got the salt marsh highlighted in green. In years when this float system is installed, this is where it goes. There's some eye bolts that are embedded into the bedrock right here. The ramp is affixed to those eye bolts. It extends sort of on and over the marsh and the rocky intertidal area, and there's a float out in the river that does bottom out at low tide. And we'd like to remove all of this and all of this and replace it with a new system with the latest, compliant with the latest requirements of Division of Marine Fisheries, DEP, Inland Guide to Small Docks and Piers. Along the way, we'd also like to take this existing deck, which is pretty aged and beaten up, and pull up the floorboards and check the framing on it and rebuild it completely if necessary. You can see that there is this dashed line here is the remains of an old foundation. Record plans for this site show that there was a house or some sort of shack right in this location. This is the remains of the foundation of that, and the framing for the deck actually bear on this foundation. So we would like to rebuild it. I specified that it would probably be a total rebuild, but we're going to keep it in the exact same footprint. The area surrounding this on the land side of the deck is all lawn. It's lawn up to Jefferson Court. We do show mulch sock erosion control that will encapsulate or enclose the construction area. This is basically a carpentry project. We don't expect that we're going to need to do any earth disturbance because, as I said, the framing bears on the concrete foundation, and on the land side, we believe it bears on the existing rock. So that's that part of the project. Let me minimize the screen a little bit here. So this may be easier to visualize. I'm going to go to the second sheet of the plan set here and just give you a section view. And this would be looking downriver. And so what we'd like to do at the top of the embankment, pour a concrete pad here. There'll be a set of steps that will traverse over the coastal bank. It will lead to a platform, a 16-foot long platform. This platform is supported by a concrete pad on the upper side, and then a concrete footing supported with a steel column on the lower side. And then from that point, there would be the ramp out to the float. So I'm going to go back to the plan view now. So we have our concrete pad at the top of the slope, steps to negotiate over. You can see the steep embankment here. There's 10, 12, 14, 16, 18-foot contours here. It's fairly steep. This is the highlighted in blue is the landward concrete pad that this platform would bear on. And then there are the two footings here and here that are affixed to bedrock. They're not in the salt marsh. We've selected a location where these will be affixed to exposed bedrock, and there'll be a steel column that comes up. This platform elevation is elevation 11. So the elevation of the marsh here is 4. So we're about at this location in the middle of the platform, about 7 feet above the salt marsh. From there, we have a 4 by 36.5 foot ramp that leads out to a 6 by 10 float to land on, and then 3 8 by 16 floats that are out in the river. This is all going to be positioned in between 2 floats on the neighboring properties. Float system here and a float system here on the neighboring properties. This will float and be above the bottom during all parts of the tide cycle. This has the most landward float has 18 inches of clearance between the bottom of the float and the bottom of the river. And these, all the outer floats have more than 18 inches. 18 inches is the recommended separation in the DEP Guide to Small Docks and Piers. What we'd like to do is anchor these floats a couple of lines back to exposed rock, like we illustrate here and in this location. And offshore, if we can embed a helical anchor, we'd like to use helical anchors. We're worried about shallow bedrock, so we don't know if that will work in this situation, but that will be the first attempt to utilize the helical anchors with flexible rods. And if we can't do that, then we'll have to put some kind of sinker here to keep the floats in place. So that's the overview of the project. I have to say that this particular project basically hits every permitting agency that you can think of. We are below mean high water, so I had to submit to Division of Marine Fisheries. They did get back to me and Julia with comments. They are fairly standard comments, commonsensical in that they didn't want any construction equipment on the salt marsh. That will not happen. They wanted the floats removed seasonally and stored in an upland area, not on the salt marsh. That's fine. And they wanted adequate separation of the platform. They called it the dock, but this platform over the marsh. And we have anywhere from 5 to 9 feet over the salt marsh. So I don't think we have any issue there. We're in priority habitat and estimated habitat, most likely because of the bald eagle and the river. So we had to submit to Division of, the Natural Heritage Program. We have not received comments back from Natural Heritage, so we will have to continue the hearing tonight. Once we get an order of conditions, we will need to submit this to Army Corps of Engineers and then also to DEP Waterways for a Chapter 91 license. So this is the very first step in a long process, a long permitting process. And so I would welcome your comments. We do not have a file number either. We don't have one issued yet. So there's another reason we're going to have to continue. But if the commission would like to see the site or has any questions, I'll answer them, or we could schedule a site visit.
Yeah, I would like a site visit. I do believe you have a file number. I'm looking at the website right now.
Wow.
Looks like it's 1068, but there's a blank. There's 6 Jefferson Courts. One is kind of blank, and the other one has a lot of the information about disturbances and everything. So,
oh, I have to recheck that. I just checked it before the meeting and I saw the blank one and I said, oh, we don't have a file number.
yep. So it's
Okay.
It's 1068 of the last 4.
Okay.
Yep.
Bill, one more question about any other permits that you might need. Do you need a water sheet permit from the harbor master as well?
You know something, you would probably know better than I, because I'm not very experienced in permitting in Newburyport. Any guidance you can give me with respect to additional local permitting, I'd be welcome to that.
Sure, it might be that the Army Corps permit sort of supersedes it or serves as the same thing, but I'm not sure. I think you should probably just reach out to Paul Hogg, who is the harbor master, and he'll let you know if there's anything that you need.
I think normally it does, but it's certainly worth checking, at least notifying him as well. I have a couple of questions about how you're going to build this. Maybe you could go to the cross section again.
So two
I
different
guess,
cross sections here. This one may be more useful to, I think, the conversation we're about to have.
yeah, I guess where I'm coming from is, some of these you say, some kind of embedment if you don't hit 4 feet and of embedment, or I guess what you're gonna do is if you don't get the 4 feet, you're gonna pin it into the ledge. My question is, how are you excavating that 4 feet?
Yeah, these will have to be, since this is a column, I assume that they would be hand excavating that because you're obviously not going to get a machine down that slope. So we'll have to locate where this footing would be, or this pad, and then likely hand excavate that.
Okay.
Frankly, I think we're going to hit bedrock, and I don't think they're going to be digging too far.
Yeah, I was mostly concerned about the turbidity and everything with the hand excavation, but I tend to agree with you. You probably are going to be, I guess if you laid this out in the field, you might find you're in bedrock every place. I don't know. And the same deal as far as doing your anchors. How are you going to do that operation? I guess what this leading to, are you going to have any equipment out in the water?
I don't believe, other than to deliver the floats, I don't believe we're going to have equipment in the water.
How about the helical anchor? How are you going to get that in?
I'm not quite sure how they actually embed that, whether that's off of a boat or
Yeah,
with a diver. I'm not sure. So I'll
don't-
find out how that is actually embedded. And
Yeah, I would
that
tend to
probably
think
answers
they
the question.
need some type of boat. It could be a work boat, but just again, I'm continually thinking about turbidity is all. I know there was some question as far as if you are going to be working an extended period and digging holes and so forth from the water, you'd have to have some kind of a floating barrier of some sort to contain it. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I don't believe there's going to be any prolonged offshore construction because there's just nothing, all the piers and or the platform that ends on the landward side. And it's just the ramp and float that are seaward of that. If for the helical
Maybe the next
anchor.
meeting, you could elaborate a little bit on some of these
Yeah.
points.
Yep. I'll
Yeah.
talk to the contractor and see what he had in mind.
We haven't done one of these in a while, but I think your downstream neighbor was the last one or the one. And there was lengthy discussions on how those floats were going to be anchored. And it was either DEP or somebody
Yes.
had very specific requirements about what they would allow. And I don't remember the details, but.
Steve, I think you're right. I remember it was Division of Marine Fisheries had very specific way they wanted them anchored, and it may be that they wanted these helical anchors, but I'd have to go back and check. They provided a lot of comments on that.
Yeah, maybe that's something you can.
Yeah. But your proposal you would like is to anchor them to high bolts in the bedrock. Is that correct?
Well, the two different, because you like to have sort of offsetting or opposing anchor lines. So the offshore would be a helical anchor with flexible rods so that it just goes up and down vertically with the tide. It doesn't drag across the surface. And then let me just show you the plan view again. And then we have some lines, some mooring lines that would be anchored to exposed rock in this location. And they show it over here. Really, those lines really need to be more towards onshore into that rock.
It also might be good to have the contractor here, if you can, next time, just get, talk directly to them to see what they, what their plans are, or maybe it's gonna be explained enough in the updated plans, but it's always good to have somebody, the person doing it, to be here for, at least for something like this.
Mhm.
My other comment is, assuming that these are going to be removed in the winter, is how is that going to happen without damaging the salt marsh and damaging the rocky intertidal? You're going to have a crane lift them out of there, because I don't want you dragging them across there.
No, they'll be taken off site. A float tender will take this and they'll move them out. They usually, I don't know exactly where, I'm more experienced in Gloucester and Cape Ann. Typically, they get a bunch of these floats and raft them together, and they just store them somewhere where there's permanent open water. But no, they will not try to drag these across the marsh.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess equipment access would be one thing that I'd be looking at. I mean, when you start describing some of these pinnings in and so forth, whether that can be accomplished upon these exposed bedrock without bringing some kind of equipment out there, that would be the big thing. I mean, if the contractor would need to cross, we should know about it. The Marshby, I mean.
Absolutely, and there will not be machinery, I can tell you that, but I will get you a better answer on precisely how they are proposing to accomplish it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would like to see a site visit. Get a better picture of the site.
Yeah, I would like to go over there too, myself.
One thing that kind of jumps out is the proposed tree removal. Is that really necessary as far as how you've cited this? Is it possible to save the tree?
In actuality, most of this bank in this direction is fairly well covered with trees. This particular one happens to be in the way, but this was the best alignment to line this up and get it between the neighboring floats and position it so that it, it's in permanent water the whole time. That you'll see when you go out there that the shoreline's a little bit rocky here. And so it's a little bit tricky getting the best position here, not having the ramp too steep at low tide and negotiating from the top of the bank down to this level. So we're happy to replace this tree, add a couple more trees somewhere on the property, but it really was a shoehorn job to figure this out. And that's the one tree that we know that we're going to impact.
I know that noise is from David.
Not me.
Sorry. That's my wife's.
Oh, come on. All right, do we have anything else? Other than coordinating a site visit?
Well, the site visit should be at low tide,
Yes.
which will
Okay.
complicate things.
All right, let's see. Let me see. First of all, is there a day that we can agree upon?
Well, I think you need to look at the tides first.
Okay, I'll look at the tides. All right, so. So are we gonna be talking like 5 o'clock or so? Because actually Thursday low tide's about, I don't know, 4:30, 4:20, 4:30.
I am not available Thursday or Friday this week.
Okay,
Unfortunately, that would have been very convenient.
Early next week, like Monday, it looks like low tide. Well, that's not really gonna work time wise.
We could certainly do it on a falling tide,
do it on a what?
a falling tide.
Yeah.
We don't need dead low.
And that would, yeah, Monday,
Like 4:35.
Keep in mind, if you're looking at low tide at the mouth of the Merrimack, that it'll be a little bit later up here.
Yeah.
Not much, but yeah, Monday works for me, I think.
Monday's good for Bill.
Monday's good.
Monday, the 26th?
Yeah. What time? Afternoon. So low tide is at 7 p.m. High tide's around 1 p.m. that day. So what time works for you all?
Well, if we make it 5, when does daylight savings time end?
Not till November.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
If we go at 5, it should be,
Yeah, I mean, we could always come back if we wanted to see it at dead low or something.
that's true, because it's right off the road there.
I'm sorry, are we talking about Monday, the 26th?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. I actually have a conflict. If we get into sort of like closer to 5:30 or 6, I have a conflict, but I can come for part of it. I'll just come for whatever I can make it.
Will you be able to lay out enough of this that we'll get a pretty good sense of where it's the platform is and everything else when we come out there?
Yep, the existing deck is there and right off the southerly end of it is where this platform is. So what time did we agree on? Was it 5 o'clock on Monday?
Mhm.
5 o'clock on Monday?
Let's just do a roll call and see who can make it 5, just so you know who to expect and who to wait for. 5
I
on
can
Monday.
make it. David,
Yes,
Bill,
Yep.
Carol,
Yes.
Steve,
yep.
Dan,
Yeah, that should work for me too.
okay, Charlie.
Yep, I can make it.
It
Great.
looks like we can all make it.
Okay, I see now that I've stopped sharing my screen that Jeff Bailey is here. And Jeff, do you think you can get the contractor there for Monday?
I will look into it. But I can definitely be there and I'll try to have him there as well if you want him there.
Okay, perfect.
I'll ask that question.
Okay. Trying to get the. Things have gone a little weird on my end.
I think we stopped sharing the
Yep, so Julia, you're the host again.
I'm hosting again.
All right, here we go. Very good.
Okay, that's all I had to say this evening, and I think you'll have a better perspective once we see the site.
Okay,
There's a good aerial view. You can see the existing deck that's there. You can see the steps coming off of the deck. You can see the rock along the shoreline.
all right, before we go any further. Are there any comments or any questions from the public? raise your, excuse me, raise your digital hand if so. Give you a couple of seconds to do that. All right, I see none. So we're looking for a continuance to the next meeting. All right.
I think the next meeting is enough time for Natural Heritage to get back. Can
Oh,
always extend it again.
there's that too. That's true. We can always continue.
Natural Heritage told me they would have the information by October 1.
That works.
Just a question that I have is, has there been any restrictions on the construction time? Do you have a window you have to work within?
I
Yeah.
would expect if there is going to be a time of year that it would probably come from Natural Heritage and or once we get into the Army Corps, it may have something to do with the fish runs.
Yeah. Just something to keep in mind. You still have a long road here.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So we just want to do it till October 4th and then go from there.
Yep, please.
Okay, can I get a motion?
Move that we continue until October 4th.
Second,
Okay, roll call. Charlie Lovasetti,
Yes.
Steve Moore,
yes.
David Vine,
Yes.
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
Bill Mullen,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Okay,
All right, thank you for your time this evening.
all right, thank you.
See you on Monday.
All right. Can I get a motion to close the public hearings?
So moved.
Second,
Roll call. Charlie Lovasetti,
Yes.
Steve Moore,
yes.
David Vine, Carol Wagon,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
Bill Mullen,
Yes.
and I vote yes. All right, what else do we have? I don't think we have
Julia,
much
did you
else.
ever get a chance to check with National Grid? Boy, we're getting a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's happening is somebody's speaker's right next to their mic and we're getting, when somebody speaks, it's popping out, so.
David, no, I apologize. I've not had a chance to check with National Grid. I was away and it fell off my radar, but I'm making a note to email them tomorrow morning.
Yeah, because it's been going on a long time and I'm afraid they might
know.
lose another growing season or something.
Yeah, you're right. They've got to get on this right now, so. They should give us an update regardless. After our discussion last spring. So I'll email them tomorrow. I'm making a note. Thank you for reminding me.
Julie, was there any erosion on Plum Island or Reservation Terrace with those offshore storms that we had last week? There was high surf warnings.
Yeah, I was out there last week, but I've not been out there since. So the storms that we just recently had, I don't know what kind of damage they may have done, but last week when I was there, I believe it was like on Wednesday or Thursday, and it looks worse. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I think that I hadn't been out there in several weeks, and when I was out last week, it looked like the beach again was still lower than it was before, especially as you got up closer to 77th Street, where the core bags sort of tail off, and where the posts had fallen in. That the more of the core bags are exposed in that location now than I remembered having been exposed before. I think in general, the beach is lowering over there at a higher rate than it is closer to like 69th Street. So it's good the dredge is coming.
Yeah, well, we'll see what this Hurricane Fiona does, because it's gonna be a major hurricane out in the Atlantic, so it might be.
Mhm.
might be veering near us, so. But it'll be what it is. All right, anything else?
Welcome to Bill Mullen.
Welcome, Bill.
Oh, thank you. Thank you much.
Good to have a complete commission for the first time in a long time.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been over a year, I think.
Well, here we are,
Right.
still here. Full
I'm
crew.
supposed to host a pasta party for the soccer team on Monday night next week. So depending on what time that is, I may or may not see you all at the site visit. Hoping I can get there, but we'll see.
Okay. No, it's all right. Kids need pasta too.
Yes, so.
All right.
Maybe they should learn how to cook it and let you have the night off.
I
Well,
wish,
yeah,
right?
that's good too.
They're just gonna show up all dirty and smelly and say, "Where's my dinner?"
Hey, you should go outside and hose them down before they come in. That just sounds so fun. All right. Can I get a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second that.
All right. Way to go, Bill. Couldn't get out of here fast. All right, roll call. Charlie Lovasetti,
Yes.
Steve Moore,
Yes.
Irvine,
Yes.
Carol Wagon,
Yes.
Dan Warshall,
Yes.
Bill Mullen,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
All right.
See you
See
Monday,
ya.
folks.
All right.
Later.
Night.
Thanks,
Good
Hi,
everyone.
everyone.